John surveyed his orchard. Rows of apple trees stretched before him. Their branches, gnarled and strong, spoke of time and resilience. This orchard had been the heart of his family for a century. It was more than just land. It was their lifeblood. It was their legacy. The town had changed around the orchard. What were once fields were now houses. Yet John's orchard remained. It stood as a testament to a simpler time, a time when the rhythm of the seasons dictated life, a time when the earth whispered secrets only a farmer could understand. John ran a calloused hand over the rough bark of an old tree. He could almost hear his father's voice. He remembered his father's lessons of hard work and respect for the land, lessons passed down through generations. Now, the orchard faced an uncertain future. Developers saw its value not in its fruit, but in its location. They envisioned houses, shops, and paved streets. John understood the appeal of progress, but at what cost? Could he bear to part with his family's heritage? The weight of the decision pressed heavily on John's shoulders. Selling the land would bring financial security. It would ease the worries that lined his face. He could finally retire. He could ensure a comfortable life for his children and grandchildren. But the thought of bulldozers tearing through the orchard filled him with a deep ache. This land held the echoes of his ancestors' laughter and toil. It held the sweet scent of countless autumns. It held the memories of a lifetime. John walked the familiar rows. He remembered planting his first apple tree as a boy. He remembered the joy of each harvest. He remembered the sting of harsh winters and the triumph of spring blossoms. He thought of his grandchildren. They wouldn't have the opportunity to experience the magic of the orchard, to taste the fruit straight from the branch, to learn the rhythm of the seasons, to feel the earth beneath their feet. Was he willing to let go of that future? The orchard was more than just a place. It was a living memory. John could almost see his parents, their faces tanned by the sun, working tirelessly among the trees. He could almost hear the laughter of children playing hide-and-seek amongst the rows. He remembered the harvest festivals, the community coming together to celebrate the bounty of the land. The air filled with music, the smell of freshly baked pies, and the warmth of shared stories. The orchard had always been the heart of their small town. John paused by the old well. He remembered drawing water on scorching summer days. He remembered sharing stories with neighbours who stopped by. The orchard had always been a place of connection, a place where people gathered, worked, and celebrated life together. Would these memories fade if the orchard disappeared? Would the town lose a part of its soul? John wasn't alone in his struggle. The proposed sale of the orchard had divided the small town. Some, like old Mrs. Henderson, fiercely defended its preservation. "This orchard is a landmark, John," she'd say, her voice trembling with emotion. "You can't put a price on history, on memories." Others, like young Mark, saw it as an opportunity for progress. "We need jobs, John," Mark argued. "We need new businesses. This town is dying. We can't live in the past." John understood both perspectives. He respected Mrs. Henderson's reverence for the past. He empathized with Mark's desire for a brighter future. But where was the balance? Could progress and preservation coexist? John found himself caught in the middle, torn between the weight of his family's legacy and the changing needs of his community. John sat on his porch swing, listening to the wind rustle through the leaves. The setting sun cast long shadows across the orchard. He had always found solace in the quiet rhythm of nature. He knew that change was inevitable. The world was moving on, whether he liked it or not. Progress often demanded sacrifice. But at what point did progress erase the very essence of a place? He thought of his grandchildren. They deserved a future filled with opportunities, but shouldn't that future also include a connection to their roots, to the land that had sustained their family for generations? John realized that the decision wasn't about choosing between the past and the future. It was about finding a way to honor both, to create a future that acknowledged its roots while embracing growth. The air was thick with the sweet scent of ripe apples. It was the smell of autumn, the smell of change. John stood at the edge of the orchard, his heart heavy with the weight of his decision. He had spent countless hours in these rows. He had poured his sweat and tears into this land. He had watched the seasons change and the trees bear witness to life's joys and sorrows. He knew that selling the orchard was the practical choice. It would secure his family's future. It would allow the town to grow and prosper. But a part of him couldn't help but mourn the loss of something precious. He realized that some things were more valuable than money. Some things couldn't be measured in profits and losses. The orchard held a value that transcended the material. It held the weight of history, the strength of community, and the enduring spirit of the land. John took a deep breath and stepped into the orchard. He walked slowly, his hand brushing against the branches as he passed. It was a walk down memory lane. He stopped by the old apple tree he had planted with his father. He remembered his father's words. An orchard is a living legacy, son. It's our responsibility to care for it, to nurture it, and to pass it on to the next generation. But what if the next generation wouldn't have the orchard to inherit? What if their only memories were of photographs and stories? Would they understand the bond he felt to this land? John continued his walk, each step a testament to a life lived in harmony with nature. He knew that the orchard story wasn't over. It was simply entering a new chapter, a chapter that would be shaped by the choices he made today. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange, pink and purple. John reached the center of the orchard. He looked around at the rows of trees, their branches reaching towards the sky like outstretched arms. He felt a profound sense of peace. He had made his decision. He would sell a portion of the land to the developers, enough to ensure his family's security and contribute to the town's growth. But he would also preserve a part of the orchard, a small section that would remain untouched, a testament to his family's legacy and a reminder of the importance of staying connected to the land. He would create a community orchard, a place where families could come to pick apples, children could learn about nature, and the spirit of the orchard would live on. John plucked a single apple from a nearby branch. He held it in his hand, feeling its weight. It was a symbol of the orchard's bounty, a symbol of the cycle of life, death and renewal. He took a bite, savoring the sweet, crisp flavor. It was the taste of his childhood, the taste of his family's history, the taste of the land he loved. As the last rays of sunlight faded, John stood in the heart of his orchard. He knew that change was inevitable. But some things, like the memories held within the heart of an old apple orchard, would endure. The orchard had been his teacher, his solace, and his legacy. And now it was time for him to become its steward, ensuring that its story continued to be told for generations to come.